All right, chat. Today we are reacting to a very interesting video, and it is about Texas. Now, a lot of you guys might be thinking, why are we reacting to a video about Texas? Texas is a really good state, and it's actually getting a lot better. And you're going to think about some cities like Houston, Austin, Dallas. They're actually really good. They're getting better. They're building infrastructure. So we're going to listen to what this person has to say about how they think that the Texas Triangle is slowly turning into America's next mega city. I want to pronounce their username, but I genuinely can't. So make sure you guys go support their video. But yeah, we're gonna see what they have to say.
This is Texas, with a population of around 32 million people. It's the second largest and one of the fastest growing states in the US.
Yep, 100%.
But what many people don't know is that most of its population, economy, and growth are concentrated in one specific region. It's called the Texas Triangle, formed by Dallas and Fort Worth in the north, Houston to the east, with Austin and San Antonio to the west. This region covers less than a third of Texas's land
But it's
area.
like most of what you know about
It's
Texas.
home to over 70% of the state's population and an even larger share of its economic output. Now, these are still all separate cities with their own identities and economies, but the gaps between them are shrinking more and more every year. Development is filling in, highways are turning into continuous corridors of growth, and together, the Texas Triangle is starting to function less like a collection of separate cities and more like one massive interconnected mega region.
That will be cool. I know, I get what he's saying with this, because like, you know how like earlier when we saw this, it was talking about New York. I think what he's saying is that one day they're going to be so like each city is going to be so like connected and just like grown that it's going to be like a big New York, but in Texas.
So how did this happen? Why did Texas end up concentrating so much of its
This is definitely why I say
triangle,
like if we can get a house in
Austin,
Austin is really good.
To understand this, you have to go back to the mid-19th century. When Texas officially joined the United States in 1845, it had a population of only around 125,000 people, and most people lived in small towns and rural areas. And unlike older states such as Massachusetts and New York, where cities like Boston and New York City had already emerged as dominant urban centers.
That's Mickey. They had a head start. That's Mickey.
Texas never had that single overpowering geographic advantage that could naturally pull a majority of the states into one place. Instead, Texas urbanized during the railroad era, which led to the rise of multiple strategic cities, which
is why they have the triangle today.
In the north, Dallas-Fort Worth emerged as a rail crossroads. Rail lines from the Midwest, the Great Plains, and the Southwest all converged here, turning it into a center for trade, finance, and distribution, even without a major port. To the southeast, Houston initially grew mainly due to its water access.
Oh, it had a river.
The construction of the Houston Ship Channel in the early 20th century connected inland Texas directly to global shipping routes. That single project transformed Houston into one of the most important ports in the country, and later the energy capital of the US. Meanwhile, San Antonio and Austin developed along older settlement routes. San Antonio became a military and logistics center, anchored by forts and later
and they have the
major
Spurs,
bases.
shout out Thunder and Display.
Austin, which was chosen as the state capital, gained political power,
Austin
stability,
is the capital.
and eventually a massive public university that would shape its future economy. For the latter half of the 19th century, these cities grew largely independently and served different parts of the state. This continued into the 20th century. In the year 1900, no city in Texas had even 60,000 people, and the state as a whole grew steadily from around 3 million to 6.4 million by 1940. But this is also around the time where things really started to change. After World War II, Texas, like most other states in the South and West, embraced the automobile heavily. The construction of the interstate highway system fundamentally reshaped the state. I-35 connected Dallas-Fort Worth to Austin and San Antonio,
which is good.
I-45 linked Dallas directly to Houston. I-10 tied Houston and San Antonio into a larger east-west corridor.
I-10
what had
goes
once
so
been
far,
long, slow journeys between cities became routine drives. At the same time, air conditioning made the South more livable, and Texas began receiving a surge of new
Man, it
residents,
used to be hot,
nearly
bro.
doubling
It
its
still
population
is.
between 1940 and 1970. In just a few decades, cities like Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio had become some of the largest.
And then we learned from the Louisiana video, because New Orleans can't grow. Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, these Texas cities can grow. They're not on water, so they can grow
in the country.
Which is why
these cities also
Austin is
developed
also
very
going to grow in the
differently from
future.
older urban centers that grew before the automobile. Land was abundant, land use regulations were relatively permissive, and growth happened outward rather than upward. Instead of concentrating development into dense urban cores, Texas allowed low-density suburbs to spread across vast areas. As a result, the main metro areas became massive in size.
Yeah.
For example, Dallas and Fort Worth effectively merged together into one metroplex back in the 80s, and now covers approximately 9,300 square
He's saying
miles,
that they're gonna all
making it
merge.
larger than the entire
That would be
state
interesting.
of New Jersey. Cities only work because of invisible systems, power grids, water pipes, data networks. You don't always think about them until something breaks.
Until something
and
happens.
the internet works the same way. That is why today's video is sponsored by NordVPN.
We got our 5 gifted. Let's go. Chat, we got our 5 gifted. Who's sponsoring?
Now back to the video. Growth continued into the 21st century, with Austin emerging as a tech and innovation hub, fueled by the University of Texas, a growing startup scene, and major corporate investments.
Okay, he's going to talk about Austin
this
here.
added a new dimension to the triangle. A high-growth,
and it's only going to get
economy
better.
Positioned directly between Dallas-Fort Worth and San Antonio. Today, Texas has 5 of the top 15 most populated cities in the country, and all of them are located inside the triangle. And what's interesting is that none of them truly dominate. While
they all
Houston
have their
is by
own
far
unique
the largest
strengths.
if we measure by city proper at 2.4 million people, Dallas-Fort Worth is the largest metro area at 8.3 million. It just shows that each city is important in its own way, and that they also complement
That's
each
what
other.
you need.
If you would draw a line connecting Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio, and Austin, you're linking a region of more than 20 million people, larger than the population of most countries. You're connecting one of the world's largest energy capitals,
that's
a
a good
booming tech hub,
That's a good
major
point.
military installations, multiple international airports, and some of the fastest growing suburban counties in the nation. And I'm not saying that this region is literally growing together into one massive city, but the space between them is no longer empty. Along I-35, development now stretches almost continuously from San Antonio through Austin and toward Dallas-Fort Worth, with towns like New Braunfels, San Marcos growing rapidly, increasingly tied
so he's saying like the
larger
cities
urban
in
economies
between
around
are
them.
going to start growing.
In fact,
not
San
necessarily
Antonio
the
and
big
Austin are
cities.
projected to soon merge into their own megaregion and reach a population of 8.3 million by 2050, as many people as Dallas-Fort Worth has today. And between Austin and Fort Worth, there's Temple, which grew from 82,799 residents in 2020 to over 100,000 by 2026, an increase of 24.4%. Waco is also growing at a steady pace.
Man,
additionally,
there's a lot of
8
good
out of the
cities
top
in that
10
triangle.
fastest growing cities in the US are located in either the Houston or Dallas-Fort Worth metro areas.
Yeah.
And they continue to expand in all directions.
Honestly, I
with
think
new
that might be the
developments
move.
and
I think
logistics
it might be
centers.
move
As
going
the cities within
to one
the
of those
triangle
cities.
continue to grow, the way the state functions as a whole is beginning to shift. For example, many companies now distribute their operations across multiple cities, rather than concentrating everything in one place. They might place headquarters in Austin like Tesla and Oracle, energy operations in Houston, and corporate offices, finance, and logistics in Dallas and Fort Worth, all within a few hours of each other. There's also the transportation angle. Over 175,000 people already travel daily between the major metros, heavily relying on the I-35 and I-45.
And then the I-10.
But as this internal network becomes more integrated, congestion worsens and the pressure to physically connect them more efficiently has only grown. In the early 2010s,
So what's like the
Texas
plan?
Central Railway proposed a 240-mile high-speed rail line between Houston and Dallas.
We need trains,
Modeled after
bro. We
Japan's
need
Shinkansen
trains.
system, the
We
train
need
would
more,
travel
bro.
at speeds of up to 200 miles per hour, cutting travel time between the two cities to about 90 minutes. While the project has recently been deemed shovel-ready, construction
2025
hasn't yet started due to political opposition, land disputes, and
yeah, which sucks. But like Europe has trains everywhere. I think the US needs that. I just brought that up on stream the other day. Like I think the US will ascend when we start having railways that you can get, everywhere. You don't have to go from plane, That'll be pretty cool to see.
challenges. We have also seen similar proposals for a high-speed rail between San Antonio and Austin.
Yes,
but whether
please,
high-speed
that
rail
that
gets
will be
built
helpful.
or not
Genuinely
almost misses the bigger point. The Texas Triangle already functions like a megaregion, economically, demographically, and strategically. This doesn't come without challenges though. Long distances, heavy car dependence, rising congestion, infrastructure strain, and increasingly housing affordability concerns as development continues to push outward. The question now is whether the model that built this region can continue to scale indefinitely, or
will
whether
it
the next phase of growth will require a different approach.
Yeah, that's
Thank you
true.
for watching.
That's a good video. Good video, man. I liked it. That's a good video. It brought up a lot of good points. I'm very curious to see if they do start the railway soon. He mentioned political stuff but yeah, very curious to see. But make sure you guys go check out his video. That's a really good video. Make sure to follow the Twitch, StoryofMike with 2 eyes, and subscribe. Like, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel. But with that being said, I'll see you guys later. Peace.